Hello internet friends, and welcome back to my series where we look for quality clothing within a brand. I am so excited for today's video because I am finally digging into Uniqlo. I made my first ever purchase with Uniqlo in 2016, and I feel like since then I have never looked back. But just because I've been happy with the majority of my purchases from Uniqlo does not mean that I hold them on a high pedestal. I want to break this video down into three different categories. First, we're going to talk about the history of the company and its innovations, which is kind of exciting because this is going to be the first video that I can really dive into specific innovations. And then we're going to do a shop along as usual, and then I will reserve all of my final thoughts and hot takes till the end. Pretty much my normal structure, but I'm just excited to talk about the innovations. Uniqlo was started in 1984 by Tadashi Yanai, opening his first stores in Hiroshima, Japan. In 1991, Ogori Shoji, his father's tailor shop, changed its name to Fast Retailing, which paved the way for the parent company of Uniqlo. In 2001, Uniqlo opened its first international store in London, and in 2005, its first store in the United States. Present day, Fast Retailing owns Theory, J-Brand, Comptoir des Cotonniers, and Helmut Lang. Uniqlo is known as an SBA retailer, which stands for Specialty Store Retailer of Private Label Apparel. This gives Uniqlo the entire control of the business process, from production design to sourcing materials. This isn't uncommon in fast fashion retailers. Both Zara and H&M use this same model for their production design. Zara and H&M though have more of a tendency to focus on the trend-driven aspect of design, whereas Uniqlo focuses more on the fabric and technology. A lot of their technology and innovation comes from their strong relationship with Toray Industries. Now, I'm going to reserve all of my hot takes on this for the later half of the video, but just to lay this all out, Toray Industries is a corporation headquartered in Japan that specializes in industrial products centered on technologies in organic synthetic chemistry, polymer chemistry, and biochemistry. Now let's dive into their technology. We're going to start out first with heat tech, which was one of their first innovations. Heat tech fabric is designed to absorb moisture from the body and convert the energy of those water molecules into warmth. So basically we're talking about synthetic base layers. Airism, which is a fabric technology designed to keep you cool and comfortable by wicking away moisture and heat, as well as controlling odor. It uses ultrafine fibers to absorb and release moisture. So we're basically talking about athletic wear and anything that you want to wear during those hot, humid summertime months. Ultralight down, which in my opinion was what really put them on the map, especially in the United States, combines warmth with minimal weight, making it a versatile option for cold weather. It's lightweight, compressible, and has a mixture of both down and synthetic fibers. It literally just fits into a teeny tiny little bag. Blue Cycle technology, which is used at their Jeans Innovation Center, employs cutting edge methods like nanobubbles. Nanobubbles, that sounds so fun. Apparently it uses tiny air bubbles to transfer chemicals and achieve desired effects like softening and fading in denim. Also ozone gas, which is used in denim processing for its ability to bleach and fade indigo dye without harsh chemicals or high water usage. Fading and distressing denim is a very water intensive process, so any movement towards less water usage I think is a good thing and a net positive. Other tech collaborations that you can currently see in store include Whole Garment, which is the world's first seam-free knitwear. When you think about seams and prolonging the life of a garment, seams are the most vulnerable part of the clothing, so something being seamless can potentially help with the overall lifespan of the garment. One of the most recent buzzworthy innovations is nano design, which is Uniqlo's answer to PFAs being banned from clothing. PFAs are forever chemicals oftentimes found in water-resistant clothing. Nano design uses a multi-component fiber spinning technology for creating ultra-fine threads. And listen, my brain can only handle so much in trying to understand how the technology works, and it sounds like it creates a barrier. They compare it to that of like a lily pad where water just like rolls off of it. But from what I can understand, it's a jumble of different sized threads at a microscopic level. Okay, now that we have covered all of the fun technology that Uniqlo has to offer, we are going forth and shopping. My favorite part. But first, a quick thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Craftsy. Craftsy is an online community for millions of crafters, makers, and DIY enthusiasts with over 2,000 classes to choose from and so many popular categories. Class topics include knitting, crochet, quilting, sewing, and painting. If you are at all curious about learning any of these skill sets, Craftsy is definitely the place for you. I myself have dabbled over the years with upcycling and DIYs. I really enjoyed taking taking Kat McTee's hand embroidery on denim class. She did a great job of breaking down the different ways to embroider denim as well as repairs, which is something that I thoroughly enjoyed watching because for me, that means finding the perfect pair of denim jeans at the thrift store. If they are ripped or have holes in them, I now have the skill set to hand repair them. And speaking of repairs, I thoroughly enjoyed Mary Beth Temple's video on thrift flipping, how to upcycle fashion finds. Two things that just speak to my soul when it comes to thrifting and giving garments a whole new life. The first 1,000 people to click the link will get a full year of premium membership to Craftsy for only $1.49. In my opinion, Uniqlo is an absolute dream when it comes to anybody who is super conscious about the type of fabrics that you are purchasing because everything is right there on the price tag. You don't have to lift up the garment and search for the care tag and flip through an entire booklet of fine print and labeling. And not to mention, it is like a detailed breakdown. Most companies will just list what percentage of polyester and what percentage of cotton. This breaks down the neckline, the elastic, where everything is located on different portions of the garment. We need that more across all companies. It would also be nice to know what type of chemicals are used in clothing, but you know what? It's all small battles that we have to focus on. Uniqlo weirdly feels like you are shopping online in person because most of the clothing has a picture right up above the item showing exactly what it looks like on a model. It just has this like very clean feeling about the store, I guess. Everything's so well organized. I will say if you're looking for very high fashion pieces, this probably isn't going to be your place. Everything is very minimalist in design. It is just everyday wear. It's your go-to garments. It's the pieces that you just grab and go. We are going into spring summer right now, so they do have a lot of linen pieces available. If you were looking specifically for 100% linen though, they almost have the store split up into two different categories. You have some linen that has a very strong mixture of synthetic materials, but also if you seek out the 100% linen, you can typically find some really good pieces mixed in. I will say though, depending on your preference with materials, if you are seeking out 100% natural fibers, you still have to pay very close attention to these pieces. Obviously, most of the airism and heat tech are all going to be a strong mixture of synthetic fibers. Even their office and casual wear relies heavily on polyester for the garments. If you've seen my t-shirt review video though, they have so many options when it comes to 100% cotton t-shirts. Uniqlo is also known for their collaborations. I would say most notably their Disney collabs. They have had this collaboration for years. Even when I visited Japan in 2018, there was an entire level that was dedicated to the Disney collaboration. Disney is just everywhere you turn. I will say though, I am located right next door to Disney World, so that could be why. I think another good element to understanding Uniqlo and how they work as a company is understanding the different lines that they offer. So Uniqlo U is their line that focuses strictly on what they call lifewear essentials. So basic t-shirts, basic shorts, muted color palettes, clean, minimal silhouettes. Uniqlo C is a limited edition collection that is a city-inspired aesthetic. So think a little bit more fashion forward and a little bit more of a modern touch to the designs. Probably the collaboration that I keep the closest watch on is the J.W. Anderson collection. Jonathan Anderson, who's the former creative director of Loewe, so you have a powerhouse of a designer collaborating with Uniqlo. It just is, oof, it's a win-win. So many good pieces have come out of that collaboration. Honestly, the list could go on and on and on because there are so many pieces even from the past. You have Jill Sanders, Mari Mecco. It's like never-ending really good collaborations. And we're not talking like Target collaboration level. We're talking, yeah, it's a different level. I think the biggest standout for me, especially when it comes to the type of content that I create, is taking a look at the overall craftsmanship of the garment. You just truly cannot find anything similar on the market right now. In this price point, you don't find nearly as much sloppy craftsmanship. I'm not gonna sit here and try and say everything is perfect, but going into a store like this versus somewhere like Old Navy or even Gap at this point, which you can easily say Gap rivals as far as price points go, the difference in Craftsmanship is just night and day. And I want to use this trench coat as a really good example of price point. This was priced at $99. I took a look. I mean, I swept over this entire trench coat to see what the Craftsmanship looked like. For $100, I thought this was very well done. Not to mention, they give you additional buttons. You have double-backed buttons, something that I always recommend looking for. The buttonholes were very clean. Yes, there were a few loose stitches compared to some other pieces that I've found in this price range. This is just completely unmatched. There was a Zara right next door, so I knew I wanted to stop in there and compare that trench coat. For $70, you can get a third of the jacket as far as length goes, and looking over the quality of the jacket is just night and day. Use of fabric, you have a very strong polyester blend. The buttons were quite a bit messier. The construction and attention to details were just nowhere near the same. And I think this is a really good example of taking a look at something that is going to last you years to come versus something that is only going to last you a couple seasons. And when you compare price point, I just feel like something like the Uniqlo in design. Now, granted, I know there's a certain level of aesthetic that the Zara piece is going for, and I understand the nuance in that, but as far as quality goes, you just truly cannot compare the two. One thing that I will mention that I always get a little frustrated about is the men's section. I do still think is like 10 times better than the women's collection. They have salvaged denim over in the men's collection, which they don't offer in women's, but yet again, you know, someday, ladies, someday. They do label a lot of their clothing though as unisex, which I do appreciate that. However, though, me being petite, I do go over to the men's section and look at the majority of the clothing as pieces that won't fit me, the salvage denim included. I will say though, this is a thrifted Uniqlo denim shirt that I am very happy with that came from the men's section. One thing that I absolutely love about Uniqlo denim is they do source from the Kaihara denim mills. If you caught my Levi's video, you know I went pretty in depth on this, and just the quality across the board is top tier, especially considering most of the price points are right at the $50 mark. You just cannot deny that this is quality denim at an affordable price. These are the JW Anderson straight denim jeans. Straight out of the gate, I knew I had to get these. The fit on them are perfection. I love how it kind of tucked into my loafers, actually. I feel like I can wear these untucked or cuff them as well. So these were like the perfect comfortable fit. Also, not to mention, I love how deep of pockets Uniqlo offers. This is their Comptoir des Cottoniers sleeveless sweater. I liked the popcorn texture on it. It is 100% cotton, which I appreciated that. Next, we have their wide straight jeans. These were just thin enough for me to say no to them. I am so particular when it comes to dark watch, and I am just holding out for the perfect pair of denim jeans. The fit and the thinness of denim just weren't quite there for me. Next, we have this Uniqlo U collection cocoon sweater. In theory, on the hanger, I thought this looked so cool. I thought it was a little avant-garde, which is, you know, caught me off guard, to be honest with you, when it comes to Uniqlo style, especially for the U collection. Trying it on didn't really feel like it fit in my wardrobe. I did like the shape on it though. It's just interesting, you know, and that is something that I do tend to gravitate towards. The Bermuda shorts, I have been looking for a good pair of high-waisted shorts, but I do have to say, I think my look has to continue because these just weren't it for me. I really wanted to make it a point to try on their whole knit sweater. I think this is such a cool technology. I mean, it kind of weirdly reminds me of like 3D printing where you just load in the fabric and out comes a sweater. It's just such a cool technology, and I just love celebrating innovations like this. I like the sweater. Did I think it was something that would fit in my wardrobe living in Florida? Not particularly. I think my personal favorite try on has to be this two-piece set. I love the skirt by itself. It is giving me very strong vibes of the Free People outfit that I tried on that I was just like, why is this even being produced? It just fits so poorly. But this piece, I feel like I could wear the skirt by itself. I could wear the top by itself. I truly felt like this was something that I could work into my wardrobe and get so much wear out of it. And then last but not least, this Uniqlo C collection 100% cotton sweatshirt. The way the sleeves hit my wrists were perfect for me. I just loved that they didn't kind of fall down. It just had that like perfect amount of sleeve cuff, and I just was sold. Let's dive into my final thoughts and hot takes. I feel like this video has probably been a little shocking for some of you guys because most of my videos are very negative and my reviews are very critical. And I still want to find a point to be critical about Uniqlo because there is no denying that they are still considered a fast fashion company. So first I want to call back to most of the innovations that they have. I want to say, in my personal opinion, most of the innovations at the time were very exciting and something that was not heavily on the market, but current day marketplace, most of these innovations are everywhere. Heat tech and airism, although they are trademarked names, and that is how Uniqlo sells them, the technology behind it, the moisture wicking and the odor blocking are all things that you can find in most activewear labels. And I also want to mention that Toray Industries is a company that specializes in making fossil fuels into clothing. How I kind of internally manage my love and adoration, I guess, for Uniqlo. One, I'm still a big thrifter. I would say my collection of Uniqlo is kind of 50-50. Like this is thrifted, and then I have like 4 or 5 other pieces that are all thrifted Uniqlo pieces. I think when you look at examples of like the nano design technology that they had to implement when they needed to replace PFAs, they were a company that still rose to the occasion of replacing the PFAs. Now, granted, by 2025, they legally could not sell anything with PFAs on it any longer. It's not like they're a company that just woke up one day and was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible technology, like we need to get rid of it completely overnight. They, they still produced it, and then they eventually phased it out of their clothing. Same as every other clothing brand on the market that was using PFAs in their clothing. I look at Uniqlo as a company that focuses on innovation, and they're gonna respond to what customers are specifically looking for. So if you have customers that are no longer shopping polyester, you're gonna have a market response of companies that start phasing out polyester. Companies knew for like decades that PFAs were dangerous and they were considered forever chemicals. It took them way too long to outlaw it, but I do think companies that are being innovative and trying to respond to the marketplace and the pushback are the ones that we don't necessarily need to reward, but I do think they're the ones that maybe we can look to for like future clothing production. But I also think there are a ton of other companies that we could heavily focus on that are producing clothing in an eco-friendly way. Pangaea is probably one of my personal favorites as far as eco-friendly production and everyday life wear and active wear that is really pushing the envelope and doing the innovation and researching product development in an eco-friendly way. But as far as affordability in a marketplace, Uniqlo hands down just doesn't really have any competition right now. They outshine all of them. Old Navy, Gap, Target, Walmart, every company that I've reviewed in this price point, you just cannot compare it to Uniqlo. It's just unmatched. And trust me, you can dig up a lot of bad press on Uniqlo. They are not a perfect company. Again, they are a conglomerate of a company. We're talking a businessman who's a billionaire. So yeah, I'm so used to ending these videos on like such a negative note, but I truly like Uniqlo. Let me know down below if you've ever shopped with Uniqlo and your thoughts and opinions. That is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new around here, I might have a couple extra videos for you right here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.